If you like Taste Test and you want to keep the music digestion sessions going every week and get some exclusive bonus content, stick around afterwards for details. But first, let's start the show. Have a taste.
You are now in the zone. The zone with Taste Test Live.
On our podcast, we provide our listeners with insightful music digestion sessions, what's happening in the music and entertainment industry each week. Also, on Taste Test Live, we feature artist interviews, awesome backstories, and we might even get an exclusive song from one of our guests.
Yeah, I love that. That's right. Our goal is to keep our podcast subscribers happy by offering new and fresh content. If you have an album or a single coming out and you want to promote your music or your book or your artwork or share a great story about your career in the music industry, drop us a line.
You can do that by heading over to our website at tastetest.live. Head over to our contact page and you just might have a chance to be a guest on the show.
Yep, that's true. It is time to have a taste.
Okay.
So, first of all, I got to give a special shout out to Al Pete for hooking this up and connecting us. Thank you so much for opening this door.
And it was so
really
quick. Like, I texted him. It was like at night one time. Like one day, he's like, "Give me about 24 hours," and it took him like 13.
Yeah,
Right.
He hit me back like, "I got a spot." I was like, "Word up, man."
this is if you ever come back to Jacksonville, you got to work with him. Like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You got to work with him, period.
Period.
Like,
It's a
even
no-brainer.
Even
Yeah.
while you're in the A, wherever you are, you need to work with him.
Seriously.
I mean,
How far is Atlanta from here driving?
About 5 hours.
Okay,
For,
that makes sense.
6
If you do
hours
90.
for me.
Oh,
6.
word.
Because
You do the speed
I
limit or
drive.
something?
Okay, I have to confess this. My father, blesses, so he's transitioned. But my dad, when my mom said she bought me a car to go to college, I went to FSU, 2 hours away from here. My dad was like, "Why did you give her a car? Like, she gonna fall asleep." I would take naps after 45 minutes.
Is that why you asked me about sleep?
Brother, let me tell you something. Because of you, I did just wake up.
Are you serious?
Brother, but I wake
Your
up.
Fitbit full?
I wake up at 4 a.m. every day.
Okay. Oh, well, there it is.
3:45 every day I wake up. So I'm gone all day.
I'm on my first dream by that time.
Listen, even though today was a day off and I had vacation time, I still woke up. My body just woke me up at 4 a.m. I went back. I woke up at 6:30. I started cleaning, doing different things like that. So by 1 o'clock, I took a 30-minute nap and then I got up. So
That ain't bad. All right. You need that. I appreciate naps now. At 41.
Yeah.
me
Yeah,
too. I'm 41. When's
Yeah.
your birthday?
9/11.
That's what's up. Happy
Really?
belated
Happy
birthday.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
older than you.
Word.
I'll be 42 in December.
What you gonna do? Take a nap?
Probably take a nap. Take a nap. Take a nap. So we friends. So my homie. We gotta exchange numbers after this. All right, sorry. Let me stop.
Oh, you good. You good. So first of all, welcome to Taste Test Live. It's good to have you here. I have listened all day. And I made everybody come in my office listen to Fourfront.
Dope.
Yeah, so
that's what we need. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely. The production value is on point.
Thank you.
And
Thank
a lot
you.
of the features, specifically
I
Madison Mcferrin.
love
her.
Yeah.
She's beautiful.
She's a kind of a newbie. Like, well, I mean, she's got the musical family.
Yeah.
That's Bobby McFerrin's daughter.
Yeah.
Taylor McFerrin's sister.
Oh yeah.
So it's music all in the family.
Oh, yeah.
You can't lose. And she has like such an older sounding voice, like round tone, and like on Bet You Wanna. I remember me and Phonte were talking about how it sounded like, some mid '60s kind of Latin jazz.
Yeah, that's what she grew up listening to. You could hear it coming through. Yeah.
So
the Alice Coltrane's her mom. I mean, like it's in that DNA.
Yeah.
So how did you like score her? How did you get involved with working with her?
That was a Phonte connection.
Serious? Okay.
They actually got in the room probably about 3 days. Knocked Bet You Wanna out. Knocked Neither One of Us out. Knocked the joint out. Did they knock out something for Little Brother? Maybe, I can't remember. But normally what we do, like when we get a vocalist, Like we'll take them hostage for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Knock out multiple songs.
Yeah.
And then, we'll place them where they need to be placed.
On whoever project, whether
Right.
it's the Foreign
Yep.
Exchange or Phonte's or your project.
Exactly.
Oh
Exactly.
man, that's dope. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's an
So
ingredient.
yeah,
That's like a recipe right
it's
there.
It's very much in-house. Very, very much in-house.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what's up. So what was this? Let's go back a little bit. So
Okay.
you started off working with the Foreign Exchange, a Grammy-nominated group.
Mm-hmm.
I've been following Foreign Exchange when they were doing stuff with Darian Brockington and
Right.
Yazara, who worked
Right.
with Erykah Badu. How did you get involved with them?
I met Phonte. That was a Phonte connection again. I met him when he was with Little Brother
Yeah.
originally.
Uh-huh.
Not the comeback tour, but the original time. Was always a fan of Little Brothers. Heard about them through OK Player and Questlove.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Co-signing them and all of that. So I became a fan of the listening. And when they came out with Minstrel Show, they were doing a tour date in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I had done 2 remixes on my Redefinition album that came out in 2005. And I heard that Phonte heard it. So I was like, all right, well, let me go to the show because I'm already a fan. So let me go to the show. Then afterwards, I introduce myself, get my dap,
Yep.
and be on my way. So went to the show, introduced myself, gave him a dap, and then he was like, yo, I know who you are. And I was like, word? And so he was like, yeah, I got your project that, on my iPod, whatever. We exchanged information. That was September of 05, December of 05, we were working together. And we've been working ever since. From there, it was like we started working on some of the 80s project. We started working on Little Brother's Get Back album, where I did the closer, When Everything Is New. And then after that, it was Foreign Exchange stuff, the Stevie Wonder remake, If She Breaks Your Heart.
Yeah. Okay.
And then after that, it was like, he was basically like, we're about to go on the road, we'll leave it all behind. I want you involved some kind of way. Like, we don't know how, we're going to figure it out. So
Yeah.
I've literally been on the road with Foreign Exchange since 2008 now.
Wow.
Yeah, as their musical director.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So you've seen some things, man. That's a good group of people, man. I mean,
Very
it's
much
like a
so.
family.
It's
Touring family.
It's a family. It's we're low key competitors.
Yeah.
Where Nicolay comes out with something, I'm like, oh yeah, all right, well then let me do this, and then Phonte's like, oh really, and then let me do this. So it's like it's very much like an iron sharpens iron situation. Competitors in a good way, not to where we're like F you and all that kind of stuff. Is very much a friendly push.
Yeah.
I have been following you since like 2004.
Oh wow.
Yeah, go way back,
Yeah.
even before then, and it's just nice to see your journey. And
It's been one.
Yeah. So I'm from a fellow composer, and I don't compose as much as you do at all. Let me just first preface by saying that. But as a composer, you've had an opportunity to do some Adult Swim stuff.
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen?
Well, TV and movies is something that I want to move into like permanently. So where it's like, you're not on the road all the time. I'm 41 now, and touring takes a lot.
Wait, hold on. Are you 41?
I'm 41.
Boy,
I drink a lot of water,
They
brother.
say black don't crack, bro. You can drink, that's the alkaline water. The alkaline.
I drink a lot of water and use a lot of shea butter, brother.
There you go.
Hey, I got some shea butter cream I could.
You got
give
some?
you. I make my own.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
make my
about.
own
That's
shea
what we
butter.
need. We got to
I don't do that.
moisturize.
I don't do that lotion.
Nah, moisturize. That'll have you.
Not for melanin.
Yeah, be out here
That
like
shea butter.
Ashley Banks.
Okay.
But yeah, like I want to move more into TV. Like I've done the Black Dynamite season 2 animated series. I've done work on most recently Sherman Showcase on IFC, also with Phonte. And when you're doing that stuff, it's like you're just composing in your studio at home, and TV pays on time and.
Yeah.
And then you can do all the other stuff as a side hustle.
Exactly.
Yeah, when that's the main thing. You
Yes.
keep the main thing the main thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, it's like when I love a good musical score, and I think it's amazing how you guys can pick up on the feelings, and
Right.
and when it's done right, it's like the music matches the emotion, matches the moment,
And then even more so than that, as a creator, it stretches you.
right.
So like I would be using sounds and stuff like that in a score that I would never use on my records.
Oh, wow.
And then discover how to kind of use it, and then take that and then use it on the record later on.
Right.
So to me, it's a creative stretch.
Yeah.
To where it's like, for Black Dynamite, for example, I was doing a lot of guitar work, and guitar is like my weakest instrument.
Really?
So I was having to get like really proficient in some stuff.
Yeah.
And learn to play guitar. And then what that did was I turned around and used it in Show Me the Way by with Anthony Dave and Carmen Rodgers, because I felt more comfortable on guitar by that point.
Yeah.
So, it was just...
aren't you glad that door
Electric.
opened? Because
Yes.
that would have never happened.
Exactly.
That's what's up.
I wouldn't have felt as comfortable.
Electric or acoustic?
Both.
But
I like to practice on acoustic because it's harder on your fingers.
right, yeah, it is.
So once you get that, like that rigid, then you can go to electric, and it, it feels a little bit
Yeah,
better.
because I play the acoustic guitar, and so electric is next in line once.
Yeah.
Because you get the quality of the sound. You get a different sound, a different feel.
Right. Right.
So tonight in Jacksonville, Thursday night, this was recorded on October 24th. Zoe is going to have the privilege of actually doing a meet and greet at the Manhattan Lounge. It's moderated by our friend, Mr. Al Pete. It's going to be downtown at 345 East Bay Street. What's the takeaway? What do you hope to have happen at this meet and greet tonight?
Well, this is my first time in the city.
Welcome back.
Doing music related work. The last time I was here was in 2000 with Western Kentucky University baseball squad, which I used to play, and we played Jacksonville University, and I can't remember the results, but it was my senior season, and that was the last time I was here. So this time I'm here, it's basically an introduction to the city.
Sowing some seeds, making some connections.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And getting the album to new ears. That's really my thing right now. I want to expand my audience a little bit more.
That's good.
I've always been about being among the people, because, I am the people. I'm not anybody that's, coming in here and, I don't know, charging $50 for a picture. Like, just come get a picture, man. Like, whatever. Yeah.
Well, and you know what? I think it's fascinating because I was thinking about the fact of you coming here and, the people, people that are already fans of you or that were approaching me saying, "Oh, I see you and Al Pete are hosting this meet and greet. Who is this artist?" Some people who didn't know who you were,
Right.
And so I was just turning them on to you and just sending them your YouTube and different things like that. And so I was just thinking how great that is because you don't see a lot of artists who come to markets like this because Jacksonville isn't, even though it's a big city, it's not considered a mainstream.
Right.
It's
right.
not considered,
especially for music.
Right, for music,
Yeah.
which is really weird because our history is music. So
Right.
for you to come here, I thought this is pretty awesome because you don't hear as many people saying, I just want to get my, take that risk
Yeah.
and say, I want to introduce myself to another market that may not fully know me, or maybe there are some Zoe fans in the city that will come out tonight and really. A lot of people said thank you so much for coming. Like they're excited to see you tonight.
Yeah,
So.
And that's what I felt even last night. Excuse me, last night in Miami, it was the same thing. That was my first time in Miami.
Oh wow!
Despite my father's from that area, and I had some family come through, but it was the same thing. It was like thank you for coming. Nobody really comes down here, especially in like a soul R&B genre,
right? Yeah.
Just because it's at the tip of the country, so it's like,
and it's in Florida,
right?
It's hard to route. Like it's hard to route that tour,
yeah.
to where it's just it's 8 hours from everything, 5 hours from everything. So, but yeah, I mean, we got to do it at some point.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question because I was reading your biography and I saw where you actually did get drafted professionally in baseball. So how did you make that transition? Like, did you just say, forget sports? Or how did you make that transition to music? Like,
it was a couple things. One, it was my knees, because when I was 17, my knees were like 58.
Yeah.
So, and it was just due to, a lot of it was just due to overworking it. Mm-hmm. When you're playing college sports and, they put this scholarship on you and it becomes a job, and we gonna work you to death. And we used to call ourselves the backup track team. So we get up 6 a.m, we doing campus runs,
right?
And you're doing it on concrete, and it's not knee friendly.
Yeah.
So
wear you out at a young age.
Yeah. So my knees, started acting a fool, and also kind of my love for the game kind of tailed off a little bit. Music has always been in my life. It was introduced to me by my parents. They were parents where I could go in their record collection and they weren't tripping. They only thing
encouraged.
Yeah, they did. The only thing that they didn't want me to do was scratch on it.
Right.
But other than that, I was free to go. So music was always there. Piano lessons were there early. So I played. Would go in between classes on campus, play, and then go to another class, or play and then go to practice, and it was always there. So when baseball stopped, it was kind of a transfer of passions.
Yeah.
To where I had all this energy putting toward baseball, and then baseball ends, and it's like, well, you know what, I can do this too. So let me put some energy into that and see what happens.
Now, you to me have a signature sound, and how long did it take? Did you purposely say I'm going to develop a sound, or did it just kind of fall into place? It
fell into place.
Yeah.
Because early on, you can easily tell my influences was JD and
Yep.
I would listen to him all day long. I listen to DJ Premier all the time, Pete Rock all the time. And you can tell that in my very, very early stuff. But then after a while, it's like, you start building off of yourself a little bit more rather than somebody else.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's kind of how, you mold your own sound.
Yeah. And then, my next question, in association to that, because although, you soul R&B, but do you have influences outside of, in other genres? What other music do you listen to outside of it?
I think that, and you can relate because we're the same age. So growing up in the time that we did, we weren't always listening to hip hop. We weren't always listening to R&B.
Yeah.
We were able to check out MTV sometimes.
Yep.
And,
Yes.
And if the intro for Take On Me comes on with that synth, everybody in this room can exactly.
Yeah.
So we grew up off of
the 80s, man. That was
Yes.
good
Oh
music.
my
Good
God.
Good times.
So pop, rock, alternative, particularly in the early 90s.
Yeah.
House, being from Detroit.
Yeah.
I heard all of it. Jazz. My father listened to a lot of jazz. He listened to a lot of funk records. My mom was more like the R&B side, like solid R&B, where he was more like jazz funk.
Now, do you? Because I've heard some musicians and producers say that they don't listen, when they're in the creative process, they don't listen to other artists. They just listen to, they just allow their stuff to come organically. Do you listen to other stuff to kind of garner inspiration, or do you just stay focused on what you're working on at that moment?
I normally listen to older stuff. I'll normally listen to
Analog.
like mid 70s.
A lot of live things,
stuff.
things that are live to tape. Or not so much.
Not really. More studio recorded stuff. I will listen to current stuff just to get a peek on where it is, and then that's it. And then move.
Go back.
Kind of see where I can kind of fill in the gap.
Okay. Well, I have one last question, and we're going to wrap up because I know you're heading to this meet and greet, so I want to get you there. But you have an event coming up in next month with Carmen Rodgers.
Yes.
So talk about Carmen a little bit and why you decided to go on this intimate tour of piano and vocals with Carmen.
Oh, what show you going?
In November. And this, I can take this all out, but I think it's next month. You're doing a show with her?
Yeah. In talking about Dallas.
I saw it somewhere earlier when I was doing my research. Maybe not.
That one?
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dallas. Okay.
Yeah, that's a full house show.
Full house show. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a full house.
All right. So yeah, you're doing a show at Sandaga. Is it Sandaga 813?
Yep.
In Dallas, and that's a full show along with Carmen Rodgers. How did you get connected with her? And tell me a little bit about that.
Me and Carmen were actually like fans of each other before we met. She knew me. I can't remember what she told me she knew me off of. But
MySpace?
It may have been. It may have been.
That's
MySpace,
MySpace.
MySpace was very useful.
Yeah,
MySpace was very useful, man. Like, yeah, it was super useful. But anyway, but I remember hearing her first off of her song "Just Believe." Yeah. I was in a spot in DC and they played it, and I was like, "What is that?" And I remember going home and downloading it from iTunes, and I knew her. I knew her music at that point. But we met at a foreign exchange show in Atlanta at the Masquerade. This had to have been like 2010, I think. All of us stayed close, stayed cool. And at the time, me and Cy Smith were touring together, and Cy ended up landing a job on the Tonight Show, which that's a promotion.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that's yeah.
And then going back on tour with Chris Bodie. So at that point, I didn't have anybody. So me and Carmen decided to get together and start touring, and that was in 2013. We've been doing it pretty much ever since.
That's beautiful.
And she started touring also with us in the Foreign Exchange, and so again, it's all in house. Like once you in house, like you
all in the
That's it.
family.
yeah, you
That's
good.
it.
We ain't got to reach out too much.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's good.
Yeah.
Well, really appreciate you stopping by
Thank
and
you
for
so
sharing
much.
so much information. I know you got to go. I want to spend more time. The next time you come back, we're gonna do like a full hour.
Yeah, we got to do the full.
Please.
we gonna
Yeah,
laugh. We gonna
definitely.
eat.
Yeah.
And you gotta
Yeah.
come. You gotta let me cook for you, for real.
Word up.
She can throw down,
Seriously.
but I can
Amen.
too though. That's what my show is called, Taste Test. Yeah, I like to do a little taste test.
Word up.
Yes,
Word up.
Yeah.
Well, y'all see me. Y'all know I ain't picky. So there it is.
I know. I ain't had time to cook for you today.
Yeah. All right, man. Really appreciate it. Thanks again.
All right,
Absolutely. Thank y'all for having me.
All right. Taste Test Live is a fully syndicated podcast and is on podcast services or wherever you listen to your podcast.
Taste Test Live is supported by listeners like you. If you enjoy the show and want to make sure I can keep making it at this rate, then head over to tastetest.live and click the button that says Patreon. There you can learn how you can help and get some perks for your support. If you're unable to support Taste Test Live financially, then share the show. Tell your friends about it and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast service. I really enjoy sharing this podcast with you and producing it every week. Thank you so much for listening.